Well, the first thing is it's good if you get some coaching before you do it. It's a good idea to have some understanding of what you're doing, um, but then also to, if not, at least to do some research on safety and safety equipment, and make sure you get the right equipment for the environment that you're going into. And I would say also start somewhere easy, and if you're not sure whether the water you're going on is safe and easy, don't do it. Go somewhere else first, and then find out more, research the environment that you're going to go into. I mean, it's straightforward. If it's a lake or a really uh, sheltered beach, then no problem, you can get out onto it. But there's a lot of water in the UK that's not quite as safe as that, and you need to understand the risks of that environment.
And often we have a beautiful day, we have perfectly calm water. It all looks so inviting. People don't appreciate that there is hidden dangers, isn't there? There can be, lakes, things underneath the water. There can be certain quirks by the way the water moves around, and it can be quite hard to find some of this localized information. Or do you agree with that?
Yeah, so a couple of examples. So if you on the sea, I mean, I give you an example in paddling in Sardinia, where on a very lovely beach and sheltered by an island, and an offshore wind picked up, and the part of the group that I was working with started to be pushed out to sea very quickly. They're sort of heading straight out across the Mediterranean towards Africa. And so, it took a little while to rein that back in. And that's just, people just not being aware of the local conditions. On the Thames, people go out all the time, not understanding that it's in London, it's a tidal river, and people really don't know where the tideway starts, for example. So, yeah, a lot of people are out there not really understanding that environment. And rivers everywhere change constantly. Flow levels change, and with climate change now and heavy rainfall just coming in, you often get like a week's rain in a few hours, and that can change the flow rate in a river drastically.
And you're supporting Sam with his calls to educate people about leashes. What happened in this particular case, and what lessons ideally would you like people to take from it?
Yeah. So Sam's friend Simon was wearing an ankle leash, and any leash attached to the leg. Once you're in a strong current, and the you and the paddleboard get wrapped around something. In his case, it was a moored boat. So his paddleboard, he was off the board, and his board went one side of a mooring, and he was on the other, which is quite an easy thing to do. And then it becomes extremely difficult because you're being dragged by your leg, and there's no differentiation really between a knee leash and an ankle leash here. In a strong current, it's impossible to reach your leg. Even if you do reach it, you've then got to detach a Velcro fastening, which if you're about starting to be dragged underwater, your head's being dragged underwater, very difficult to do that. So he didn't have quick release leash. If he'd had a quick release belt leash, for example, or one fixed to a buoyancy aid, he could have just pulled the quick release and floated away from trouble. So we're trying to get that to be a standard piece of equipment in the industry, and for manufacturers to supply that with the boards when they supply a leash. It's only going to cost a few dollars more on the price of a board. And we also want people to understand that that's the best equipment, the only safe equipment to use in an environment where there are strong currents.
And as a member of the industry yourself, have other members generally been quite receptive to this idea? Have you found combativity against it, or have people just generally not really thought about it until now?
Response in the industry has been good so far. We've talked to all our main suppliers, and two out of the three of them have said that they're willing to change things for next year. One of them was immediately on it, and they were very keen to work with us on this. So it's encouraging. The third supplier is a big international company. We're working with them, and we're pretty confident that they'll change things for next year. So if they supply leashes with a board, it would be a quick release leash.